Football is back. The Chicago Bears take on the Kansas City Chiefs at Soldier Field at 12 p.m. this Saturday in the first game of their NFL preseason. What should we take away from this game? Watch this video to find out. What's going on, guys? I'm back with another Chicago Bears game preview video, which I'll be doing for every single preseason game and obviously regular season game as well, and postseason if we make it, but that's kind of looking iffy right now. But regardless, guys, I'll be here with a lot of videos for you guys, going over the games and also giving you guys post-game reactions after each game as well. So if you guys want all this game content for the Chicago Bears, definitely be sure to subscribe to my channel. For the preseason preview videos, I won't be going too much in depth about matchups or who I think is going to win the game, because at the end of the day, none of this even matters. Okay, I'm sure you guys know by now. I mean, if you've been watching the NFL for as long as I have, like, preseason does not correlate to regular season success in any way, shape, or form. Yes, you can take away certain things from preseason, like if certain players perform well or if your team feels like it's well coached, that can carry over into the regular season, obviously, and your team can be more prepared for the regular season if they are getting some snaps in preseason. But it does not mean that you're going to win a lot of games in the regular season if you're winning games in preseason, and vice versa. Okay, the Lions went 4-0 in the preseason the year that they lost every single game. Okay, so don't overreact after this game. I would just say to go out there, have fun if you're going to the game, which I will actually be at that game myself. So if you guys see me, definitely say hi. I would love to meet up with you guys, snap a picture, whatever, talk Bears football, and just enjoy the game, guys. I mean, it's going to be a lot of backups playing for the majority of this game, but Coach Eberflus did say that starters will play 15 to 20 snaps at the beginning of this game, and he did not say every starter would, so kind of makes me question if Justin Fields will actually be in there, but I'm thinking that he will be in there because he needs these reps, guys. I mean, he's a young quarterback in a brand new system now in year 2, still developing himself, and a lot of new weapons to work with, guys. A brand new offensive line too. 80% of our offensive line, starting offensive line, is brand new from last year to this year. So there's chemistry he has to work out with the O-line, with the receivers. There's reps that he has to get just for his own development, and doing that in live game action, that's the best way to do it, because you can't emulate that in practice. And yes, I know people will say you're risking injury by putting Justin Fields out there in a meaningless preseason game, and yes, that is true, but guys, he's at risk of injury every time he's on the football field, even in practice as well. Okay, an injury can happen at any time, at any moment. It can happen in week 1 preseason, it can happen in week 1 regular season, it can happen in training camp. I mean, football is a brutal, violent sport. Injuries can happen at any time, any moment. So being scared of being injured all the time, that's not going to help you in your development. Yes, if you're already an established quarterback like Tom Brady or Aaron Rodgers, then you don't need the preseason reps because you already have the experience. You already know the playbook. You already know the coach. Like, there's not much changing for these top quarterbacks. That's why they don't usually play in preseason. But when you are a young quarterback like Justin Fields, only in year 2, with so much new around you, you could really benefit from these preseason reps, which is why I think that he should play 15 to 20 snaps, which should be a quarter, maybe a quarter and a half, depending on how long the drives are. Hopefully the drives are pretty long and he can get out of there after the first quarter, after scoring a couple touchdowns. That would be really nice, but we'll see what happens. Okay, so obviously first player to watch in this game, if he plays, is going to be QB1 Justin Fields. Okay, last year in the preseason, he had an okay preseason, I would say. Game 1 against the Dolphins, he had like 2 touchdowns, 170 yards, I believe, but the passing offense did struggle a little bit. Game 2 against the Bills was not good. I mean, our entire team got blown out against the Bills, so that was a bad game. And then against the Titans, he actually had a handful of nice highlight reel plays. So okay preseason last year. You hope to improve on that this year, even though the games do not matter, even though it's going to be very basic offensive plays going up against very basic defense. If he is looking accurate going down the field, if he is on the same page with his receivers, if he is looking more comfortable in this new offense, that is a win for the Chicago Bears in the preseason. Okay, I don't care if we actually win this game. If Justin Fields seems to be looking good in this new offense, which I know is super basic right now, I would be really happy at the end of this game. Again, he has so many new receivers to work with, and a lot of them will not be playing in this game because of injuries. So N'Keal Harry, Byron Pringle, Velus Jones, Cole Kmet will likely not be playing in this game due to injury. So it's going to have Equanimeous St. Brown, Darnell Mooney, Tajay Sharp, some of the other backups like Dante Pettis to throw to, and then backup tight ends Ryan Griffin, James O'Shaughnessy should be in there with the first team as well here and there. So it's not going to be like a very talented group of receivers he's playing with, but if he can get something going down the field, at least get one touchdown, that would be a win for the Bears offense. So definitely look at Justin Fields, how he does. I don't really care about the other backup quarterbacks because if they're in at any point this year, the season is probably a wash. Okay, this year we only really care about developing Justin Fields. Talking about the other position group, so looking at the receivers, so I'm really interested to see how Equanimeous St. Brown does in game settings, okay? Because so far he's looked really good in training camp, in practice, but that doesn't always translate to the real games at full game speed when there's live tackling, live hitting. So let's see if he is gonna, continue making big plays like he did in practice so far. He is gonna be Justin Fields' number 2 receiver in this game, so he should see a lot of balls thrown his way. And aside from him, we already know that Darnell Mooney is pretty good. So I'll be looking at the fourth string, third string receivers here. So like Tajay Sharp, Dante Pettis, Isaiah Coulter, and Asimba Webster. Like one of them might have a chance to make the roster due to injuries for other receivers. So if they ball out, they may have a chance to continue being a Chicago Bear. So really important game for all of them. Looking at the running backs then, I'm mainly interested in seeing how Trestan Ebner, the rookie, performs in this game, because we've already seen a lot from Montgomery and Herbert, and they might not even get that many carries in this game because they are running backs, and wear and tear matters, for running backs. Okay, you don't want to have too much unnecessary wear and tear. But Trestan Ebner, guys, he is a rookie with a lot of raw receiving ability as well, and I really think that he could factor into this Bears, starting lineup in certain packages, because he can basically be a receiver as well. He has very good hands, he's very shifty, very athletic, very fast acceleration, I would say. Okay, so I would kind of view him as like a taller version of Tariq Cohen in this offense potentially. I'm not saying he's as explosive as Tariq Cohen, and obviously he's bigger and stronger than Cohen is, but there's a lot of different ways the Bears could use Ebner. So I'm curious to see how Luke Getsy actually uses him in this offense. Looking at the tight ends then, the only guys I'm really interested in are the backups here. So like Ryan Griffin, James O'Shaughnessy, and Ryson John, who Ryson John has been making a lot of plays, guys, even with the first team in the last week of practice. So we'll see if he can rise up the depth chart and maybe be, the tight end number 2 or number 3 behind Cole Kmet. We're probably going to keep 3 tight ends on the roster if I had to guess, but that's the tight ends. Cole Kmet will not play most likely. And then looking at the offensive line, I'm really interested to see how Braxton Jones performs in a real game like setting. Okay, the hype train on Braxton Jones has been insane over the past month now. Okay, he's been taking every single first team offensive snap. He's been locking up, Robert Quinn on certain occasions. The other pass rushers we have, he's been doing pretty well against too. He's been a really good left tackle at this point in camp, and I really want to see, is it going to translate to the real games? Okay, because it doesn't always translate, but if it does, Ryan Poles might have found a steal in the 5th round, and that would be such a big development for the Chicago Bears offense this year, because if you have your left tackle set, it makes things so much easier for your quarterback. So definitely look at Braxton Jones, how he performs, if he's still going to be as good as he was in practice. And then otherwise, also look at the rest of the offensive line, the first team offensive line, which should get 15 to 20 snaps in this game. Okay, the majority of our offensive line is brand new from last year, like I mentioned. So besides Cody White here, everybody is new here. So, they have to work on chemistry. They have to work on playing together as a collective unit, because that's what matters for the offensive line. It's not 5 individuals, it's one collective offensive line, and they have to get on the same page. And what better way to do that than by playing in a real game? And then obviously look at the backup offensive linemen too, because Tevin Jenkins, Larry Borum are backups now, or at least at this point they're backups on the Bears offense. And if they have really good performances in this game, maybe they could rise up the depth chart, maybe beat out Riley Reif at right tackle. There's also guys like Doug Kramer at center, who maybe he can beat out Sam Mustipher to be the backup center. So a lot of, obviously Ryan Poles drafted a lot of offensive linemen in the draft last year. Okay, 5 offensive linemen. So all of them will get the chance to play most likely in this game, and I'll be interested to see how they perform in a game setting. Going to the defense then, some guys will not play. So Kyler Gordon will not play due to injury. Roquan Smith will not play, obviously, because he hasn't practiced at all. And maybe some other starters might be out too, but we should still see the majority of the Bears starters out there for 15 to 20 snaps, according to Coach Flus. And I'll be interested to see how they play as a unit, this early in the preseason. Andy Reid actually said that Mahomes will play for probably the first quarter of this game, and the rest of the starters should be out there as well. So this will be a fantastic test for our defense against one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. I'm not expecting them to shut down Mahomes, because very few defenses can actually shut down Mahomes, but if you can get pressure on him, get some plays against him, some wins against Mahomes in the first team Chiefs offense, like that would be a fantastic win for the Bears defense. The Chiefs receiving core is definitely different this year than it was last year. Okay, they lost Byron Pringle, they lost Tyreek Hill, their superstars, so it's going to be some lower level guys compared to previous years, and I want to see if our cornerbacks can perform well against them. Okay, especially Jalen Johnson, CB1. Okay, it's going to be a big year for him, year 3, and hopefully he breaks out this year. And then other players I'm looking at on the first team, defense, probably Jaquan Brisker, guys, the rookie. And I mean, Jaquan Brisker said in his press conference that he wants to get an interception on Patrick Mahomes, which if he actually gets that, guys, I would be going absolutely nuts there at Soldier Field. That would be such a cool moment to see your rookie safety intercepting Mahomes, like one of the best quarterbacks in the league. Probably pretty unlikely, but you never know. Okay, Brisker has been having a great camp up to this point. Going to the backups, then I'm mainly interested to see guys like, Jack Sanborn, okay, because he figures to be still fighting for a starting spot maybe on the Bears linebacking core, because right now we have nothing set at linebacker. Even Roquan Smith might not even be on the team in a few weeks, okay, if we trade him. So any of these backup linebackers could steal some starting spots. I also want to see how Dominique Robinson, okay, the 5th-round rookie out of Miami of Ohio, how he performs in this game, because again, there have been rave reviews about this guy all offseason, okay. A lot of people have said he might be the steal of the draft for the Bears because he has such raw athletic abilities that have not been fully developed yet at pass rusher, that if they get developed, he could actually maybe be a star in this league in the future, okay. But if he has a great game right now, maybe he could figure into this Bears pass rushing rotation early on, even this year. Also want to see how Kyrie's Tonga backup 3 technique is going to do in this game, because he was a 7th-round pick last year that I feel like got kind of overlooked so far this season, okay, because he could still be playing a major role on this Bears team, being the backup 3 technique, which that's one of the most important spots on Eberflus's defense. So, in case of injury for Justin Jones, he might have to be thrown in there or maybe rotate in there, and a good performance would go a long way in giving Bears fans confidence in this defense. And otherwise, guys, I would also just look at every other backup on this team, because they're going to be fighting for their lives in this game, okay? Preseason is the time when, UDFAs and lower round draft picks, they're going to have to play really well if they want to stay on the Bears roster, because that's what happens, in the NFL, okay? If you're not a high round pick or a high, money signing, you probably won't get many opportunities unless you ball out in the preseason. So hopefully, for their sake, they have great games. But that's pretty much all the stuff I want to talk about. As for a game score prediction, I don't care if we win this game or not, but I'll predict the Bears to win by a score of, let's say, 22-17. Bears win 22-17. Justin Fields gets 1 touchdown. The backups get a couple as well against the backup Chiefs defense. And everybody at Soldier Field goes home happy, hopefully. Let me know what you guys think about this game in the comments down below. What do you think is going to happen in this game? What players are you watching out for? Let me know down below. But that's it for the video. I'll be back with the post-game reaction on Sunday, not on Saturday, because I'll be out basically all of Saturday. So I'll be busy that day. But next day, I got you guys with the post-game reaction. As always, guys, bear down.